Hi there, this is Yukiko, and welcome to my Facebook Live, Goddess and Energy Coming Alive. So today's guest is Marisa Cheb Terrab, and I will tell you a little bit about her after I talk a little bit about who I am and about this Facebook Live. So my name is Yukiko Amaya, and I am a lifelong seeker, in a way, of consciousness and wondering what connects us all, what is aliveness, what is life. And I've always wanted to know this answer. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to know the meaning of life. And I was told quite early on that to stop asking such unanswerable questions and get on with life. But I really feel that these questions that no easy answer can come to, it's the question that the soul asks. And it's really vital that we, at some point in our lives, engage in these questions of who am I? Why am I here? What is the meaning of life? And so these conversations with various guests who are also my friends have come about because each one of my guests have also had some kind of an inquiry that took them down the path that they went. And I am very, very curious about how it is to really fully be embodied and be alive. Because a lot of the spirituality that I encountered growing up, all the major religions basically, seem to say that this world of flesh and bone and body and matter was an illusion, and that enlightenment or spirituality was about transcending all of this and leaving the body and going into these states, these transcendent states. And I practiced that, I tried that. And perhaps I didn't go down that path really far enough to understand where it can really take us. But I was really emboldened by my experience through movement and dance about the wisdom that the body and matter in general holds. Think about nature, the wisdom of nature, that's held in matter. The trees, that's matter. And in my experience dancing early on in my life, in my early 20s, when I was a professional dancer, and I basically started dancing in my early 20s, I was very late in coming, I realized that there was another consciousness and another intelligence that was within me that had nothing to do, in a way, with the intelligence of my mind. It was another kind of knowing, and that fascinated me. So I am a dancer, a shaman, priestess of Goddess and priestess of Avalon. I am also an energy healer, and I walk between worlds of the seen and the unseen worlds, of matter and energy, and how they come together for wholeness, for healing, and for a more wholehearted way of living. So without further ado, let me introduce today's guest to you. Her name is Marisa Cheb Terrab, and she is from Argentina, and she lives in Argentina between Buenos Aires and this amazing magical sacred land called Ongamira, where she and her husband have a retreat center. Now, Marisa is the creator of the flow dance method, and she talks about it as being a synthesis of all the different embodiment arts and consciousness arts that she was connected in with. She started out quite early on teaching aerobics, and then was really fascinated with consciousness and energy and was led to that. She spent also time in Spain investigating, teaching consciousness and movement. She became really fascinated with Gabriel Roth's 5 rhythms and went to New York to train along with a friend of hers from Argentina. And on returning to Argentina with her friend, they were the pioneers in really bringing conscious movement and dance to South America. I met Marisa when we were both studying to become soul motion, conscious dance movement teachers. And it was just such a delight to be able to move with her and converse in so many different ways. So she is also a recently certified mindfulness meditation teacher with Jack Confield. And she has been teaching almost on a weekly basis for the past 3 decades or more. And that to me is astounding. She teaches classes in the flow dance method, also gives teacher training, a 2-year teacher training in the method. And she is also moving things from the heart. So let's bring on Marisa.
Hello,
Hi.
Yuki. What a beautiful introduction you made for me and for yourself. Thank you so much for having me in conversation with you. It is such a joy to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. I know. Well, you know, one thing I have to say is even though it's really great to be face to face, I'm so glad that we do have the technology to make this possible. You know,
Yes,
because right now you're in
absolutely.
Buenos Aires, yes?
Yes, yes.
What's the
This is
weather
one
like?
of, well, today it's cold. It's chilly. And you know, today I'm in Buenos Aires, and I had noticed that it is snowing now in Ongamira,
Oh,
and
wow.
it is not the natural thing to go to happen there.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I want to apologize for my English, because sometimes I would try to say something that doesn't come to my mouth because it is not my mother language, you know. But
Yes.
here we are, very, very happy to be with you. And this is one of the things that these times that are very desafiant, very difficult, that we are going through. But these things of technology and be able to be together with people from all around the world, it's such a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
let's take advantage of that.
Yeah, right. And you know, I want to like dive in right away and ask you, when were you attracted to movement and doing things with the body, physical activity? How did that come to you?
Yeah. Well, when I was very, very young, I had my very best friend, and we loved to meet and be together and to put some music and move and just move. And then when I was alone, I was doing the same. It was just time for me and just, you know, be free. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just enjoying of music and dancing. But that was the very first step. And then for many years, you know, during the adolescence, very young, very introverted, very, you know, just like more in the box. and I really rediscovered. It was my brother who invited me to an aerobics class. I think I was 15. And I just so enjoyed to move. It was so, yeah. And then I had a Brazilian teacher who teaches jazz. And that were my new steps to discover the joy that I could feel while moving, you know? And as I was very introverted, what happened to me when I was moving, it was I was completely free. Well, this happens today. It still happens today. But it is a place where I find freedom and no judgment. And it's amazing. So it is like a whole plane of being there. And then when I discovered that, I never stopped, because I started teaching very, very young. I went to school, and then in the evenings I went to teach my classes. And and it's very interesting because, well, at that time I was very young and I started offering 3 classes a day. You know, I have a lot of energy. And then
Yes.
when I was in Spain too, and it's been a long, long time. The kind of movement we're changing and changing and changing, because there is a curiosity that takes me and doesn't let me stay in one place alone. So I still stay in that place, but I feel I want to see some more, and it's like a spiral. Yeah.
You know, you talk about how you felt very, that you were closed in, that you were in a box, and encountering physical movement. And even though you used to dance and move around, somehow when you first encountered aerobics, that something internally, you felt a shift for you? Was there a shift that happened that was different from just moving and dancing in your room kind of thing? What happened that made you want to start teaching this thing?
Well, for the first thing, it was I was enjoying it, and I didn't think that I couldn't do it. So why not doing it? And as I was doing it and had the possibility to travel to train in some ways, different ways with different teachers, it was so enjoyable that why not doing it? And at the same time, you know, in that place that I was speaking you about, it was the closed world, the box world, but it was also that space that I can feel inside. And it was very early on my 17, 18, that I could understand that I was also inside, because there was a beautiful and huge world inside. So when I started feeling this connection between moving and not only, yes, you know, I was feeling like I feel free. But then I started linking that inside and outside, there was something, there was like a bridge there, you know? And so this offered me the possibility to start a little bit more, because it was very early that I started feeling that I didn't belong only to the world of the gym, because there were a lot of mirrors, you know, and a lot of things from the outside telling you if you were doing well or not.
A lot of mirrors
in the spaces where I moved,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
So it was still a life of judgment for me. But you know, as I was very young, didn't pay much attention, and I felt okay with my body, and I didn't have that problem. But still, I was feeling this inquiry of connecting the inside and the outside was taking me to another place that I didn't know exactly what was. So I found here in Argentina this place called I Am, that studied with the chakra system, but also with movement system, and it was beautiful. And that was another kind of stepping. And then I arrived to Gabrielle Roth's work.
How did you find her, actually?
Well, she was, I had the fortune to find in my path a healer. She was a therapist under the name of a therapist, but she was a soul healer. And she gave me her book and told me, this is for you. And she had this beautiful vision that, because I've been working with her for many years, but she has this beautiful vision of not trying, that I don't try to be like her, if not that I could really find my own path. And she realized it was through movement. So she told me, you have to read her. And as I started reading her, I don't know if you have read any of her books, but it's like you start moving between the lines of the book. And it's so beautiful that I have to meet this woman. And it just happened, you know. Life gave me these opportunities to have the possibility to study with incredible human beings. I always thought about her. I said, if only one person following her intuition and following her heart could open so much for many people. Because when I took the training with her, we were like 80 people from all around the world, you know, and it was amazing. It was amazing. So that was another breakthrough, that it was not only the thing in itself, but what that brought, you know, to wow, and so many different people looking from so many different angles, you know?
Maybe, you know, because a lot of people may not know who Gabrielle Roth is, and the system that she developed, 5 rhythms, right? That she was very much influenced, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think she was very influenced by what she saw in indigenous communities and societies of ecstatic movement and dance. She was also influenced by nature, by shamanic studies, and she identified 5 different states of 5 different rhythms to move through in order to connect with your soul sphere, or with the soul of the world, in a way. Would that be a correct way of saying that?
Yeah. Each rhythm was not only a way of moving, it was like a realm you could explore, you know. And she was a dancer. She from very young age, she was a formal dancer, and she tells that in her book. She suffered from anorexia, and she suffered from all the constrictive things that the world of the formal dancer sometimes may have. And she had a problem in her knee, and she thought she would never dance again. So she'd go there to Esalen, to this magic place in Dixur, just to get away of what was happening. And it was a night where the drums were coming loud, when she found herself in a surrendered, incredible dance that led her again in connection to start this path that was so many years of discovering but also discovering with people, because she used also to work with to pay for her studies in places with people who had mental illnesses, and she started seeing these patterns in other people, actually. So
do you want to talk about the five rhythms, just so that people understand what the 5 rhythms are?
Yeah, I will. May I stand up?
Sure. Yeah.
So because I would, each one is like a vast place, but you explore them by moving. So the first one is the flowing, that is round, where you expand and come again to yourself, and it's very like very mothering rhythm. And then comes staccato, that comes to define things and get out into the world and connect with others, not only inside, but and then you start inviting all your body in angles, and it connects you with exhale. And then you start coming to let go, and like going into a foot and another, you shift the brain state until you get in this surrender dance.
Is that what they call chaos?
Yes, this is a chaos. Thank you, Yuki, because now that I'm dancing, I may forget. I'm just letting go. And in the letting go of letting go comes the lyrical playing with the lightness. It's a shapeshifter. You can be anything in this state of being. And this builds into stillness. The still point in which everything begins again. So thank you for inquiring this.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it brought all the energy of Gabrielle to my heart. She was such an incredible teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like she was one of these amazing women who really trusted her innate instincts to investigate and connect with what was inside and outside, and not at all held back by the patriarchal confinement, in a way that says dance should be like this, or breath should be like this, or this is the system or the technique. But there was something about really trusting what was coming through and trusting her own vision.
Absolutely.
Seeing, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's you know, and I have a huge amount of respect for her. She passed away a few years back.
Yeah.
But I remember one of my friends, who is not a dancer, was on a plane to go to the Philippines one day to meet with these healers, the Philippine energy surgery people, you know? And she said, sitting next to her was this lady, and it happened to be Gabriel Roth.
Oh.
And she had no idea. But what I remember about her telling me that was how curious she was, how open to different experiences, that it wasn't just the mind going, no, that's good or that's bad, but that she really was open to experiencing and sensing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. She was an amazing being. Yeah.
And she actually, so I feel also opened up. And this is something that I really find fascinating, because when we have somebody like that come in, and there was she came in with all of that, I would imagine during the 60s, 60s, 70s, somewhere around there. It was a time of great experimentation. And the lady who started Continuum, Emily Conrad Dawood, also comes out around that same time. And she is also receiving this way of movement that comes from within. And she told me that when she first started receiving, she thought she was going crazy. She said she would go into this Egyptian pose and kind of almost pass out, and all of this information would come in, and her body would start moving in these micro, because with Continuum, it's micro movements, that you're able to rewire your spine. For people who have, with accidents, have a severed spinal nervous system, that they were able to map it outside of the spine, which was medically thought to be impossible. But she thought she was going out of her mind with all of this information coming in. So she went to see a psychiatrist, she said. And the doctor looked at her and he said, "Oh, you're going out of your mind." He said, "You're going crazy. I'm going to put you on meds."
My. It's a bad place to go.
And she said she had moment. And this is one of the things that I really also wanted to say, was that I was quite young when I met Conrad Dawood. Well, quite young. I was in my 30s and had just started studying yoga and wanted to be part of this women's healing circle. They were all healers. And just because I started to teach yoga, I thought I could get in. And I got in, and I was out of my depth, because these were all healers who were energy workers and continuum creators and therapists and, all these people. But it was fascinating to hear them speak about what is healing, what is movement. And so Emily Conrad Dawood said, I remember saying, one of the greatest tragedies that we have, even though the antipsychotic meds are really, really helpful in certain cases, and they have helped a number of my friends and family who needed that in times of really dire breakdowns. However, there is a psychotic breakdown, and then there is another, which is almost like a shamanic or a spiritual breakthrough. And they kind of look the same, but they're very different. And that she didn't take the meds that the doctor gave her, Emily Conrad Dawood. And she said, thank goodness, because it would have shut everything down. And there is something about the way society is now. And, women are working on breaking through, because I feel that we receive information in a very different way from men, that men and women, and of course this is a general statement, because it's not like we're completely separate. There are a lot of mixtures and fluidity, but just like an overall thing that I feel women are much more, tend to be more sensitive to receiving information through intuition. And that was so severely shut down for so many centuries, with the witch hunts and all of these things that said, no, you cannot receive direct information. No, you cannot work with herbs. No, that we are slowly that's also what created psychotic breaks in a way,
Yeah.
because we're interconnected with all this information coming in from nature through our bodies, you
Yeah.
know, through movement.
I,
And that,
I may, may may I
yes,
share
yes,
a little
please.
story about that? There's a
Yeah.
story that Jack Cornfield told us about a tribal in Africa, and they were in this little place where they didn't have water, and they were getting so uh, separated from the places, and they couldn't grow their food, and they were getting more and more near to disappear. So they called a group of people that were going to put some money to help, and they started offering some circles of from people to speak together to see what was happening. And he was aware that there were no women. The women were all at the back, and they just couldn't speak. So
Wow.
after some days, um, these people that I don't have in my mind who were they, but to story doesn't matter now. And they had started asking, why we would like to see what women have to say. And this tribe would not allow them. But as these people were the people who had the money and were going to help, they said, okay, let's bring the people. And they made this whole circle with women. They were chanting and drumming and everything, and they started saying that they knew where was the water, and it was very very. They received it in dreams, but they
Mm.
were not heard by the men. They said, "No, you are just saying," and they wanted to cave. They wanted to do the work. Um, because they really knew the water was there.
The women
So
did.
yeah, so
Mm.
after some coming and going, they decided to give them the women a chance to try, and they've been caving for many days until finally they find the water. They find there was a lot of water, and they could change everything. Everything changed
Wow.
in the place, and it was amazing. So this is a story that happens in each um, in each part of our whole globe. I think there are different ways in which women are put down, but also not heard. You know.
Right.
So thinking that, well, what they have to say is not so important. So, well, just to what you were
Yeah.
saying.
No,
Yeah,
and I feel that, whether it's men or women, this intuitive way of knowing, this dream
yeah,
knowing, what you spoke about, and
yeah,
it's a very famous man in the West, Carl Jung, who really brings
yeah,
in that language as something. And in the beginning, he was afraid of speaking about this because he thought the whole scientific community would laugh at him, you know. But this intuitive way of knowing is so important, and it really made me, realize that when I was watching you take us through the rhythms, of it's whether we enter it through with these different rhythms, or what we did with soul motion. Um, so soul motion is a system that was developed by Vincent Martinez, who was one of the senior students with Five Rhythms, I think, with Gabriel
yeah,
Roth for a long time, and he started to develop this other way of connection, because he felt like the rhythms weren't necessarily separate. but that they could happen all at the same time. And that there was so he decided to divide it into relationship, which I found really fascinating. So that I am one with all one. So beginning with I am, connection with yourself, and then one, I am one with, so with one another, so a relationship between two, so it's a duo, all, and with the community, so with many, one with the entire universe or the entire world. And so it was more like these concentric rings that would go out that then you can bring in or go out. And that too was, because I didn't study five rhythms, somehow I couldn't connect with her teaching. I took a workshop with Gabriel Roth, and because I feel like everybody has different entry points. But Marisa and I met at the Soul Motion teacher training.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, it was really hard. It was really hard, and it was really, really amazing. And maybe we can show a little clip from when Marisa very, just so graciously, after our training finished, she invited me to come down to Argentina to teach a workshop in Buenos Aires, and then to give a retreat, a 5-day or 6-day retreat, I forget it, in Ongamira, which is a magical
beautiful
place.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And so
all the people who were there remember it a lot.
Yeah, it was a very, very powerful and sweet, and the land itself. And I want to talk about that after we come back. But Noellen, would you be able to play the clip from of Marisa and I dancing together?
I saw I was. What a beautiful time together. I miss we dancing together.
It's and, you know, we couldn't speak over the video because the music was playing, but one of the things that I really wanted to also talk about today and address is the field in between, because when we are dancing, you know, or people tend to think of I'm moving and she's moving, but in the listening of it, something happens so that the space between the two bodies become alive. So it's almost like that we are being danced by the field that suddenly connects us.
Yeah.
You know, and
this conversation, it is between me, you, and the space in between. because music
Yeah.
hits everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and now you remind me, because I got so caught up in the conversation. But if you are watching, please take the time to put into the comment box where you are listening in from, and if any of what we're talking about inspires you, or if you have an experience that you would like to share about coming into the body, moving, sensing, or feeling like you get taken out of wherever you thought you were, and suddenly you are in this much larger universe. What Marisa was, what you were talking about in the very beginning, of how you started to feel that the inner universe was so vast, and at the same time connecting with the outer universe. Oh yeah, so we've got Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. And Janine. Janine is right there. Yes, and you're right in that
It was
video
in the
too. Yes.
video.
Hello,
So
Janine.
good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Maybe in the short time that we have, we can maybe try this experiment. I have no idea if it's going to work, but we're talking about the field in between. And this is something that if you're listening, I encourage you to sense. It's almost like the internal pressure of your body and the external pressure outside become the same. And all of a sudden, the barrier of your skin, or who you think you are, the limit of this is me and that's the rest, and that's air and there's nothing there kind of thing, to soften, so that your internal world, the internal pressure, using your imagination, and the external pressure becomes equal. And you start to listen. Okay, maybe no movement comes, maybe some movement comes, and extend your listening. We've got Janine in England. Marisa, you're in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. I'm in Northern Virginia. Jennifer is in Northern Virginia. Extending that listening as if there were cords of energy that, without exercising your will, naturally connects. Because our intention, our intent is held in this very gentle way of connection through this ether, through the field with each other. And if you like, we can even rise up and see if we can dance or move with each other. But first of all, come into connection with the space around you and yourself, your internal space. Feeling your breath. Yeah. And don't worry too much. There's no right way or wrong way of doing this. Maybe it's just shifting weight. Yeah, feeling the space behind you. The space behind. Maybe even leaning back into that space and Yes. The breath and the heartbeat.
I love that guidance and this connection from the world within to the world around. Yes, we can surrender to the Mother Earth. Surrender your weight, my weight, our weight. Nothing to do, nothing to be. Just feeling your breath coming in, going out. Allowing our hips to surrender to soft circles or whichever movement wants to emerge.
Yes. And it's almost as if the movement coming from within, you don't know if it's coming from within or if it's the field around you dancing you. Whether you are breathing or being breathed.
Whether you are moving or being moved.
And then in any way, sensing each other through this field. Every now and then you can even pause, coming into this place of repose and stillness. Until something moves you again. As you sense into each other, sense also in this moment the earth beneath you, the sky above you, 360 degrees around you. Maybe the trees that surround you, the birds, the clouds, the deep stones and the underground waters. Yes, softening your skin just 5% more, just softening all over your body. Yes. And just slowly coming to a place of for now, a place of completeness, of wholeness right now.
Yeah. I really loved Yuki. Your conducting voice, just inviting us. It was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love it.
I love it that, you know, that we can also just flow from one to the other.
Yeah.
Like you were, you know, giving us your cues, and it was just, you know, again, like that we think, our brain has the audacity to think that we are separate.
Yeah.
But even if we wanted to be separate, we can't be.
You know, it was very fun because in the moment you spoke about the tree, I was receiving all the energy from the tree that is outside, and you just let it get out of your mouth. It was amazing.
Yeah. So, and Pat Consoli, listening from Buenos Aires.
Pat!
Wonderful. Yeah. It's, you know, we get so stuck in our heads. We all do, you know, with all of our different worries and obviously we all, you know, are functioning in different ways in the world, and at the same time, to be able to develop this way of conversing, you know, of listening, is so healing.
Yeah. And for me also, well, you said it, it's just you get out of your thinking mind, but also to have the possibility to relax all the judgment, and that it is not weighted that you move any way in particular. It's just, how is today for you, and how can you be today the more loving to yourself, you know, to surrender to what is here.
Yeah.
So that is gold for me.
Yeah.
That is the gold.
Yeah. And I feel like this way of, you know, free form movement and of taking the time to stop and become quiet and to listen.
Yeah.
To let the movements, you know, open the you know, the field within that can become so tight because we're so judging ourselves and judging everything, and it's just like, oh, you know, to be able to break that open. I used to do this really funny thing. I don't have sticks, but you know, where people would go, you know, I feel, you know, I want freedom. I want freedom. And I would say, it's like this, right? Like you're holding up the prison bars and going, let me out, let me out. And I go, oh, I was the one who was holding up the prison bars. You know? And so that it's within it's part of our life capacity. You don't have to be somebody special, or, you know, it's within everybody's, it's part of the capacity and the intelligence of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
To connect in this way, right?
So this is just to find ways to sink in this intelligence, this universe intelligence, to really be able to be in tune with the flow of life.
Yeah.
And we can do it any moment, and we can get out of that sync any moment, and we can come again in sync. And each time we get in sync, it's like, oh, yes, I remember now. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can do it at any time because, yeah, it's great to have an hour and a half to be able to move with other people or to have that space to really go deep. And also, that just a simple act of dropping, softening your knees and dropping the weight and moving, moving consciously. I remember remember how he used to say, when you're in the supermarket, next time you reach for that can of soup, move from the ground up. So drop the weight and then reach for the can, that
It's so
every
funny.
moment it's our choice to be conscious or not.
Yeah. I love his creativity to open the field in one moment, just in one sentence that he does with his body too. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing him. Yeah.
Yeah. We thank, we acknowledge what a great teacher he was
absolutely.
To us, in the way that and this wonderful system that he came up with. It's a beautiful system. So, we're already at the end of time, so we'll have to do this conversation again because there's also all the stuff about the energy of the land, of moving with the energy of the land, or how when we move, the energy of the land also shifts. That there's like this conversation between our body and Mother Earth. And also your experience with dancing and with the dolphins. And so that'll be another time. And if people are interested in working with you and knowing more about you, they should just go to your website.
Yes, please. It is not very actualized, but I will this week. I will do some changes because I don't have the new stuff that I'm going into these days. But yes, metodoflowdance.com.r. It is in Spanish. I'm sorry if you don't speak Spanish, but yes. And there are some interesting things happening during the next days, and you can go there.
Yeah,
and you can write me. Yeah.
So Marisa is an amazing teacher and holder of space. So I highly recommend working with
Yuki.
her. Yeah.
Thank you, Yuki.
And for those of you who would like to be, who are interested in movement and ritual work, because I work a lot with energy, with goddess, and with movement, ceremony, and ritual is another way of really synchronizing ourselves with the energy of the universe and creating a harmonious flow between our energy and the energy of nature. So please go to mygoddesspath.com and look at rituals. I think there is Noellen, if you can put up the connection to the rituals page in the comments box, that would be great. Right now, coming up is the summer solstice ritual, which is June 21st. So that's Monday. We'll be doing that. It's actually next Monday. Ooh, it's going to be very juicy.
It goes fast.
Yeah. And then the full moon, the summer solstice full moon, I think is on the 24th. It's a very powerful one. So there'll be a ritual for that as well that you can sign up on and do it at your own leisure. It's a pre-recorded ritual that will be delivered to you. So go to the rituals page and check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Oh, Janine, thank you. Janine says, magic to share with you both and lovely to see you.
Oh, yeah, so good, Janine. Send you a lot of love.
Yes, yes. Lots of love, and lots of love to all of you listening, and go out today and feel the movement through your body and through the earth, through nature, you know? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Yuki, for inviting me. It was a joy, as always, to be with you and with whoever is watching. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marisa. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining in and listening in. Have a very, very blessed, blessed day. And next week, I will be coming back with an amazing sound healer and a songstress from Avalon, Elsa Field. So I hope you will join us. All right. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.